James uses a variety of word pictures and metaphors to build his case in chapter 3. As we can see from the very first verse, James is speaking primarily to those who teach, who assert themselves as teachers and yet should not be a teacher. Why would James see this as a serious problem that must be addressed? First, adversity seems to attract many counselors and teachers who wish to instruct us as to God's rationale for our plight, but like in Job, many of those teachers are just ill prepared and don't think through the situation. Second, there are always those who seek to teach in order to promote their own self-interest for the honor and the recognition, or those that say the words that keep them in power. Putting James 3 in context, Christianity is a new religion. It is important that teachers not misguide people who are seeking to follow. James instructs those wannabe teachers that they should hesitate to teach because judgment of teachers will be more severe. He indicates that all of us have stumbling blocks in many ways, but he focuses on one stumbling block in particular: speech. Using the analogy of the small bit that controls the large horse through his mouth, or the rudder of a ship that controls the entire ship, James asserts that if a man can perfectly control his tongue, then he would be able to control every part of his body as well, and that man is perfect. But right after that, James reveals the ugly reality that the tongue cannot be controlled, that there are devastating results as a result of the words we say. The tongue, like a small fire, can spark and spread and destroy an entire forest. It can infest. James is recognizing that our thoughts and feelings lead us to go astray, but our tongue has the power to lead many others astray. It has the power to destroy society. I think about clients and people who are in arguments and are compelled to say just one more thing, and generally that something is wrong. The news this week is filled with words that must be walked back and retold, and that is why James asserts not only is the tongue destructive and completely out of control, the tongue is also deceptive. Making contrasts to nature, James shows us how we are unlike nature. In nature, what you see is what you get. A spring will either produce fresh water or bitter water, but it will not produce both. A fig tree will produce figs and not olives, and what something is by nature determines what it will produce. Man's tongue is different. A tongue is capable of producing both blessings and curses out of the same instrument. At one moment, my tongue may speak words of truth and blessing and with absolute sincerity, and just a moment later, it may speak something corrupt. I remember during my confirmation hearing, a senator asked me a question I thought to be inappropriate, and so with a flash, I answered with a flippant, funny answer, shining a light on how inappropriate this question was. My intent was not to help him learn. My intent was to make him feel small. Now, I was eventually confirmed unanimously, but my tongue took control for that minute. Though you may not sit before a microphone teaching others of God or stand in front of a classroom teaching a Sunday school, if we profess Jesus as our Savior, we are watched. You, in fact, never know who will be watching and listening to you. You do not know who you are a role model for. And so we must always be on guard and disciplined to represent God the way He would want us to represent Him. Now, we all get frustrated. There are moments when we feel compelled to say things that we know in second thought we should not say. We have to remember that we are teaching those who are listening to us, who are seeing us, teaching them that this is acceptable Christian conduct when it really isn't. Christians adopting the language of reality TV and engaging in open expressions of our rage in ways that hurt others and that teach others the wrong thing, we must discipline ourselves. I'm not perfect, as you obviously know. None of us are. But we must work on disciplining ourselves. So when you see me at McDonald's, you should hear what a Christian says when that distracted teenager behind the window has gotten his order wrong. When you see me talking to my grandchild, you should hear what a Christian says, even though I have said it over and over and over and over again. When you see me in my car being cut off by that impatient driver who's on the cell phone, you should hear what a Christian says when he's by himself and only God can hear him. I guess I know what I ought to work on for Lent this year. You guys have a great day.